Well, that didn't turn out like I wanted to. It's okay.
Fail.
Oh man, fail, hard time. That beat was good though. The beat was good.
We didn't hear anything.
I know. I totally forgot. That didn't work very good. It's okay. Woohoo! Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay, we'll just turn off that.
Oh man.
No, it's funny. This is why it's the first episode. Guys, welcome for the first episode of What's in the Box. My name's D-Rez, Kevin. I have some of my devs here from the Fancy Box Studios and Mr. Evan Todd, sir, creator of Lemma. Thank you for being here, man.
No problem. My pleasure.
We will get into this. I'm going to make this a podcast, and if you guys can't watch it, obviously you can't watch it because you're not watching it right now. But you guys can listen to it later. We're just going to answer some questions, stuff like that for Evan, and just promoting his game and stuff like that. But first of all, my name again is Kevin. I'm D-Rez, and I am the marketing director for Fancy Box Studios, and Jake is not here. So, Aaron, you want to take it away?
Sure. I'm Aaron, and I'm currently the lead programmer at Fancy Box. That's about all I have to say.
All right, Kenny, in the dark, looking creepy as hell right now.
There's my fourth right in the day. Hey, I'm Kenny. I'm the other programmer, and that's about all I got to. Java, I guess I'll throw that out there. Probably my favorite language.
Java.
All right, Mr. Andy, who I called Brawley from BSB, go for it.
Oh yeah. Hi, I am Andy/Brawley. I'm a sound person. That's about as specific as I can make it at this point. I make music, make sound files. I guess I do some voice acting now as well. And I'm from Canada, unlike the rest of these fools. Out in Ohio. I know, and then I'm not sure where Evan's from, but
Special.
Ohio too.
Yeah, he's in Ohio.
Sorry.
really. Oh.
Special
I
note
feel
about
like I know
Andy,
fast.
he likes to eat wheat thins, and I think that is the
I
national
love the wheat
snack
thins.
of Canada. So,
National snack of Canada.
Mr. Tyler.
Hey, I'm Tyler, lead artist, and I draw things sometimes.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Very nice.
Sometimes.
And Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul himself down there in the corner.
Yeah.
All alone.
I am Paul, programmer. No, I'm just kidding.
That was good.
Designer, one of them, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I am the designer, and I'm from Wisconsin, which is almost like Canada. And I am not in Ohio, so I am lonely soul like Andy over there. And yeah, that's about it. About that.
All right, perfect. Well, let's jump into it. Evan, like I said, thank you for joining us, and I know all of us have questions for you. First off, when I found your game, I'm like, this is a sick game. This is nasty. It kind of reminded me of Mirror's Edge a little bit, and yeah. Who wants to start off with the questions? We'll start off with Aaron.
Of course.
And yeah, we'll do the same, but go for it.
Yeah, I was kind of curious because he did say Mirror's Edge. It reminded me of Mirror's Edge too. I actually saw this a couple weeks ago when Kevin showed me it, and my initial thought was that it was similar to Mirror's Edge. So I was just curious what kind of influenced you. Was it Mirror's Edge? Was it something else?
Yeah, thanks for that question. There's tons of influences. One of the biggest ones was definitely Mirror's Edge, but it kind of came later on because actually the project started out as a third-person game, so totally not Mirror's Edge at all.
That's awesome.
But there's all kinds of, obviously a little bit of Minecraft. Everyone always says Minecraft, Portal. I even got Bastion. From Rock Paper Shotgun says like Bastion. I have no idea where that came from.
Did you ever get this game called Breakdown? Kind of like the kicking and stuff like that. It reminds me of that. It's like an old Xbox game. Aaron knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the first Xbox. It's a first-person shooter that kind of had like climbing and jumping and similar things. It's kind of similar in ways. I don't know if you've ever even heard of it.
No, I haven't.
It's a pretty good one.
Definitely check it out. It's good.
There's this other game, Titanfall, that has some like running and jumping
Is
in
there?
it.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
yeah.
know exactly what kind of Titanfall. I think I've heard of it. Is it with Max?
Titanfall?
Is it with Max or something like that, or like?
Yeah, it was some guys from Call of Duty, and they got
Yeah.
mad or something and made a game. I don't know.
Then they forgot how to balance a game.
Hey, here's some Max. That's awesome. On to the next person, Kenny, being really creepy with the lighting down there. I got a question for Mr. Evan.
What was that the XNA platform you used? Which platform was that game made for?
Yeah, so here's programming nerdy stuff. Yeah, it's XNA, which back when I started this project, back in 2010, it was like the thing to use. But now not so much. Now it's Unity. Go use Unity if you can.
Cool.
Oh, very
Cool.
nice. Mr. Andy. If you
Jesus. It's a lot of pressure. I mean,
it's okay. You
I
guys.
guess I would ask a sound thing. Keep it in like, I'm a sound guy. I'm gonna talk about sound stuff. But so like, do you Michael? What? It's like for sounds and stuff. Like, do you do all that yourself, or do you get? I guess yeah. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
music and sound effects, of course.
yeah. The sounds honestly are mostly from Freesound, so I'm not. They're not, something I'm humongously proud of. But basically, I'll usually download them from Freesound and then take it into Audacity and change it up for what I
Oh
need.
wow, super
And then,
freeware.
Yeah, everything's freeware. It's all Blender, Audacity, GIMP, Inkscape, like all the free
Yeah, that's cool though.
That is really sweet.
And then I
actually.
do have a
Impressive.
guy, I'll pimp his stuff, Jack Menhorn, who's doing the soundtrack, and he does a really amazing job. He's actually kind of half sound designer and half artist or musician. So what he's actually going to be doing is, if we keep going with this, we're going to be converting to WYs. Is that how you say it? I don't know, but so like we're using XNA's built-in sound stuff right now, and it's pretty terrible. So, but he's trying to convince me to switch over to WYs, which I guess is the industry standard.
That'd be something more Penny and Aaron would know more about. I'm more just on the actual creation side of all that kind of
Sound
stuff.
creation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just using Reaper. So I'm trying to get a little away from freeware, but cheapware is still where it's at for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my buddy was trying to convince me to buy Fruity Loops because it has a wave editor in it that.
Oh, it's such a bad buy.
Really?
Don't buy it! Don't.
Well, it's a great sequencer, but I mean, it's like one of the worst wave editors that you
Is
can
it
take.
Edison or something like that? Is that what it is?
It could be. I don't know. Reaper is like $60 until you make like 60 grand a year. Then you have to pay like $100 for it.
Okay, I'll definitely look into that.
It's a really nice DAW. In my school there, I use Pro Tools 9, which is like the industry standard for almost
Right.
everything.
Right.
But I mean, and then I kind of got into Reaper because I can't afford Pro Tools, obviously. And I found a lot of things I can do in Reaper that I can't even do in Pro Tools. So I mean, like, it's very versatile. It can do all the different things. The only thing is, like, you just don't have you have to buy all your plugins and figure out where to get really good plugins from and stuff like that. But I mean, the actual workstation itself is awesome.
Nice.
If any, I'm not gonna go down the line even more. If you guys have questions, just throw them in there, Paul and Tyler. But I have a question. I'm the marketing. So like, how was the marketing for this game? And like, I'm new to like the industry or the game industry and the indie game industry. How did that go? And you said you started this in 2011, 2012.
2010 actually.
Wow,
So,
holy crap.
yeah, it's been in my spare time for most of the time. But marketing-wise, I don't know, there's tons of stuff out there,
Yeah.
places that you can post your game. For me, a big one has always been Screenshot Saturday on Reddit. There's a subreddit called Game Dev. You guys probably know about all this, but I post every week there, Screenshot Saturday, and it's a great way. Like a lot of indie journalists, like journalists for indie game sites and things, will kind of just peruse through that every week.
Uh-huh.
So I get a lot of stuff from that. You always get a nice little traffic boost from Screenshot Saturday. Plus, Twitter is a big one, and there's a hashtag for Screenshot Saturday on Twitter. There's a game dev hashtag that usually gets retweeted pretty well. Facebook is not a huge one, but it's good for your existing fans that, you know.
Yeah, I was surprised with Facebook. Like, I threw it up on there for Fansbox, and I'm like, there's like your friends and your family, and like that's it. Like
that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a big. It's like people talk about social networking like it's some kind of magical box or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I'm
no.
like, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
social media, I got this. And I go up on Facebook, like, there is no one on here. But Twitter, I Twitter, man. I mean, you see me on there. I was like tweeting like everything. I'm like, hey, watch a show, check out the Kickstarter, and I was getting a bunch of retweets, a bunch of follows, favorites, and I mean that was awesome. I want to get you that 6,000. I'm like, I know there's someone out there that has the money.
Yeah, it's great because Twitter's awesome because it's like the entire game industry lives on Twitter.
Yeah.
And everyone always follows back. If you follow some game developer, like 90% chance they'll follow you back, start retweeting you, stuff like that. So
I've told these guys before that I was wowed, and it kind of made me feel good that like all the indie devs, everything, the companies they're together as one. They're like, hey, check this game out. Hey, go support this person. And I really love that. I think that's like it creates a community, like a family.
it's awesome. Yeah, totally agree.
Paul, Tyler.
So Kevin was telling us you're pretty much a one-man band on this whole project.
Yep, that's the
It's
case.
amazing. That's amazing.
That's really cool, dude. I kind of wanted to know more about like your art direction because my first introduction to your game was basically just watching the trailer, and can't lie, I wasn't exactly sure what was going on, but it looks pretty cool. I like what you got going on, and I figured out what it's all about eventually. But at first, I don't know. I was really struck by the just the textures and the stuff on the walls, and like what was kind of your art direction for that whole thing.
Yeah, it's been, oh man, the game, after like 3 years, you go through a whole lot of iterations, so it's been a lot of visual overhauls and stuff. The textures right now, the idea is basically everything should mean something. So kind of like Mirror's Edge, where everything was color-coded. So I try and, now when I do a texture, I try and think, I don't just pick a color, I have to like think of, why is this material this color, and I want it to convey something. So like there's kind of conventions, like darker materials are more difficult to break, lighter materials, you can smash right through, different like systems and conventions that I set up. But other than that, the textures were, the main idea is minimalism, so they're pretty bare. There's not a whole lot going on because I used to have, I used to go on to CG textures a lot to get kind of realistic, nature textures and stuff like that, and they all ended up just making it really busy, and it was not a very clean look. So I ended up switching back to just really plain textures, and it seemed to work out okay. Like I said, some people still don't know what's going on, but at least they're not overwhelmed by crazy nature textures.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
I played the demo for a few minutes, and I was a little bit lost, but I did think it was very cool, very, since considering it's one dude, that always impresses me. Even if it doesn't have terrible graphics, nothing's terrible, so to say it's one person is pretty impressive when, we're working on our first game, and there's a possibility that with 7 people it could still be not
Doo-doo,
awesome.
son.
So
when I read that, I was blown away. I'm like, one person. I'm like, that's crazy. You've gone a long way, and I mean, I clap to you, give props. That's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I
It's
don't
awesome.
recommend it to anyone though. If you can get a team, get one.
All the good ones say that. I like what I do, but I don't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
at
don't do
all.
drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Paul, question, sir.
Oh, I don't know, man. Just the levels were all like weird to me for some reason. It's very very different style of gameplay than what I play. You know, it seems like an open concept almost. You know, it intrigued me how you did that. It wasn't more of a question, more of just a comment on the game. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The levels are probably one of the hardest parts for me because it is so different from other games. So it's not like I can just, you know, take a page from someone else's level design. It's all totally new. So most of the level design, like the best part about it is that I've been able to put out a lot of betas, and people play them and they're just like, "What is going on?" And then I fix the problems, make it more obvious because, yeah, people get lost so easily with I guess the way that my brain works. I can't design levels very well, so I throw in it's a very like trial and error process.
I definitely got lost a couple times, but I did like how, you know, if you miss a jump, it's very forgiving. Like, you start right back where you just tried to jump from. So, you know, I don't know. I didn't think it was terrible level design. I just wasn't familiar with it yet.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that you just die and then you're back again. But like if you play like Dark Souls, it's like you die, I'm gonna take your soul and half of your souls and your armor and your sword and like
That's what makes it so great, though.
the game pisses me off to no end. To no end.
I'm playing the second one here in.
Speaking of Dark Souls,
Yeah, you open that can of worms.
yeah, that's coming out soon. And that might be when we really start twitching, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
So Evan, you said this was only you, right? You didn't work with anybody else, or did you have any like people to influence you or something like that, or did you hear from like some other indie developers that were like, "Hey man, this looks awesome. Keep up the good work."
You know, you hear that like in forums and things like that
Yeah.
when you post your work, and everyone is always, but everyone says that about everything. You know,
Yeah.
you can't go in there and be like, "Hey, dude, you know, you should probably stop making this game."
Yeah, please just stop. I see.
Yeah, so.
And,
Multiplayer.
yeah, I saw that. Multiplayer. Are we gonna
Like,
shoot
they
you?
act like that's just something you can be like, okay, like I turned the multiplayer function on with this single line of code.
Oh man, yeah. Unity maybe, kind of, almost.
Maybe easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
So about the the marketing and stuff like that. How was we want to put our game on Kickstarter. So how was working with Kickstarter, and how did that go? And when did you start? You said you've done this, since 2010.
Yeah, the Kickstarter. So that just launched in March. It was March 18th, and it's been good. I absolutely am glad that I did it. Couple things that I learned was one, make sure like you can submit your Kickstarter before you actually like are ready to go. I mean, you can submit it like weeks in advance, and you totally should because there's like an approval process, and I didn't realize that. So I'm like tweeting everyone, hey, it's gonna start tomorrow on like the 17th. Then I hit the button, and it's like, okay, you're in the queue to be approved.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh crap. And then I'm starting to read. It's like some of these projects take like 3 weeks to get approved and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So luckily, it was only 1 day delay. But yeah, hit the like save and submit button, well in advance so that you can time it properly. Another thing, there's tools out there to like do like there's one called like Thunder or something like that, and you can get people to like basically donate their social media accounts, and it will automatically post on them on the day that you launch your Kickstarter.
Uh-huh.
So when you're building up your Kickstarter, you can be like, hey everyone, sign up for this thing. It basically like logs into your Twitter when you launch your Kickstarter, and so you kind of have an army of people tweeting about it.
Dude, that's
like
awesome.
right at the launch, which is great because the first day is like the most important in Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, I jumped on there and it was at 4,000. I'm like, that's awesome. You know, I thought I usually thought you're gonna get to 10K, and I want to get you to 10K still. And like I said, maybe there's
8
someone
days,
on
man.
maybe there's someone on the Twitch or Twitter, like I said, that's a millionaire. It's like, hey, I have $10,000 here. I'll give it to you. Here you go.
So that's also cool that you got greenlit. So
Yeah, dude,
mean-
congrats
Oh,
for
yeah.
that, man. That's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, Greenlight went a lot better than the Kickstarter. You get a constant flow of traffic from just Steam itself, so that was really helpful.
right.
So thank you for the Kickstarter. To go into more of the game, what's the story of it, and what is who do you play as? Who's the protagonist? I think I saw some some comments like, I'm a girl. Why a girl? But could you go more into that?
Yeah, it's kind of like so the girl, the player character is a bit like Half-Life. You're a physics grad student. So someone was commenting that it's like the most unrealistic physics grad student in the world because she's running around doing parkour and stuff. So what happens is basically one of your colleagues is another physics guy. He hits a breakthrough and basically breaks into this kind of alternate dimension, and you try and follow him, and you basically want to explore and figure out what the heck is going on, and that's the game.
So you in the game, I noticed that you don't. There's no attacks, right? There's just kicking through the blocks and stuff like that. And I know I was reading up on there that you have different blocks that do different things. Ones that hurt you, some that like neurify the like kind of the red virus. Or can you go into more of that? I think that was really interesting, and I love how
Yes.
they broke apart.
Yeah, so the kick is kind of an attack because you can break through blocks. So if there are blocks that you don't like, you can attack them with your kick. But yeah, there's different types of blocks in the game. Some of them hurt you and some of them help you. So the red blocks hurt you, and you can actually stop them from spreading by making blocks of your own. So the whole game is about basically creating shapes and stuff.
So the red is kind of like a virus, pretty much. That's what.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe now that I think about it, I'm like red virus. I'm like in an alternative universe. I'm like, is this Tron? Are we in the grid? Are we in the grid right now?
Yeah, maybe we come to the end of it, and there's like a deal with the movie studio, and we can kind of bring in that IP and do it.
That would be so sick. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Does anybody have anything else? Any Kenny, Tyler, Paul? I'm gonna go more into it now. So what were you gonna do with the 10K? What was that used for? What was it gonna use for the game?
Yeah, so I have actually saved up enough to work on the game on my own until it's done. But the 10K is actually to hire an artist and to hire my sound guy that I'm having on board. So the animations are all mine and stuff. The player character is a make human model, and it's been okay. But that's like the first thing people complain about is they're like, dude, the player character looks like a 4-year-old made it. So that's basically the 10,000 goes toward that, to pay someone to actually do it well.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's great. I wanted to go into this because I know when I told my parents, I'm like, yeah, opening up like a game studio and making a game, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, no, really, like we're going to do an app, we're going to do like some games, stuff like that. How was your family and friends supportive of you making this game, and of like you doing and becoming like this game designer? Because in like today's society, you're supposed to go to college, you're supposed to get that like job, and you're supposed to like, there's set jobs that you're supposed to get. How is that? Because my parents, like I said, they were just like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's really an interesting subject. So I actually did, I went to college and I actually worked for a year and then quit. So it wasn't too hard to convince my parents because I already had kind of done all that. But, it's weird telling people you're like, yeah, I work on games, and the first thing they're like, oh, so did you make what was that one game, Candy Crush? Yeah, I played that, and it's like it's hard to talk to people about games because they don't really, I don't know, they don't really understand.
What are video games anyway?
Right?
Exactly.
Like, they're Candy Crush. Like, that's the game. That's the only game.
If you guys want to ask questions while I fix the derpy call, I would appreciate.
If you would have read what I said,
Yeah,
man.
I know. But yeah, if anybody can take control, ask him some questions while I fix this because
You can play his trailer right now while you fix it.
That
That's fine.
I can. So everybody on the stream, thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you haven't followed, make sure you follow already, and make sure you go check out his Kickstarter. He's at 4 and he needs 6. Like I said, if you got 6K lying around, just throw it in there. You know, why not? But I'm gonna show you the game. It's about the trailer's about 2.5 minutes. But yeah, let me pop it up. Oh, hey, look, it's Evan. It's picture.
Welcome to scenic Columbus, Ohio.
Oops, wrong. Kept on going. All right. People on the Twitch, Chimp said he's like, thanks for the link. It looks good. Impressed. He says, why have you done this alone? Why do this alone?
That's a really good question. No one has really like offered to, no one ever offered to jump in and help out, and it's kind of been such a rocky development process that I didn't really want to bring anyone in. Like, stay away, because it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of different things.
I know that I know we are having troubles, and the first thing I see on the forums or something, starting an indie game company or something like that, they're like, "Don't do it! Like, stay away, stop!" But like, I don't know. When I see that, it makes me want to do it, and it makes me, because like I've grown up with games. I've been playing Final Fantasy, playing the first Mario on my Game Boy. Like, I was so intrigued by this universe and this world that you create in your head, and then you show people. I don't know. I think it's one of the best art forms. I believe it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's everyone's dream job, right? And when you actually go and do it, it doesn't turn out to be the fairy tale that you think it is, because game development is freaking hard. It's really hard, but it's really rewarding, I would say.
Exactly. Yeah, like we were making like the GDD and stuff like that, and I know we had troubles with that because we're all learning, but I want to ask you, we've talked about your game. Let's see. We already asked you what the story is and everything. Here's something that's pretty cool to get into. Like, what's your favorite game?
Oh man, what is my favorite game? I'm big fans of Valve games, so the Portals, the Half-Lifes, anything like that, and that's a lot of that comes through in Lemma, definitely. So definitely those. I'm not a huge mobile guy, so.
Yeah, me either. I'm not. No. I mean, that's cool and everything if you want to play a mobile game, but yeah, I'm not so much. So someone on the stream said, any other games do you have planned after this? Like, when are you stopping, Lemma, and what do you have next? What's in store?
Well, hopefully it'll be done in November is my dream. After that, man, I mean, everyone that makes games knows what I'm talking about. You have so many ideas that you want to make, and like so little time. So, any game designer, you've got like your backlog of stuff that you want to mess around with. So, I've got a couple different things that I'd like to work on that are definitely top secret, but.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So, what's your favorite mechanic of your game? And the reason I'm not getting Jake because it's gonna do everything again, but he can join. It's just gonna turn everything. So Jake, jump in when you can.
Yeah. So the main mechanic, or my favorite mechanic. The most interesting one to me is the slow motion. It's so hard because the demo is like you don't even get into the interesting stuff until like an hour into the game. So, but it takes that long to introduce everything. But there's a function where you can create new structures by kind of going into slow motion, and then you do a parkour move, and stuff just appears out of thin air. And that's definitely my favorite thing that I've. There's actually a commercial that you might have seen. It's a 5-gum commercial with this guy who like I don't know. It's hard to describe, but there's just he's doing parkour and stuff just like pops up around him as he's doing it, and that was kind of one of the inspirations for the game was, to turn that commercial into a video game, like to feel like whatever you do, like a platform will just appear beneath you and catch your fall, and you'll be able to jump wherever you want it to go.
I see. Very nice. Our one of our lead programmers here, our lead programmer, Mr. Jake Schumann. Welcome him. He was a little late, but. Jake, do you have any questions for him? Yeah, go for it, because I've just been answering like crazy.
So I have loads of questions, actually. One thing, though, is I'm not a lead programmer. I'm a lead designer.
Yeah, that's it. My bad.
Evan, first of all, nice to meet you, buddy. First question, and I got a buttload here if you don't mind answering them, is what made you choose game design? Because from what I understand, you work by yourself. Why didn't you say screw it and say I'm going to go program insurance software for some company and play it safe? What made you choose I want to make video games?
I never really chose that because I started making games when I was 11, and then I did have a job at one point where like programming insurance software, and I always just had games going on in the background, so I always just had side projects. So I guess going back to when I was 11, why I started in the first place, I mean, I played Myst, and it like totally rocked my 11-year-old world, and I just wanted to make stuff. I just wanted to make stuff after that. So.
How old are you now?
What's that?
How old are you now?
I'm 22.
Oh, okay, so we're all in the same boat here. Did you go to school for anything?
Yeah, so I went to Ohio State for 4 years for computer science and engineering and graduated, and then I worked for an iPhone game studio here in Columbus, actually, for a year, and it was good. It was a great place to work, but like I said, I don't make iPhone games. I don't play them. It's not really my thing, so I quit to work on my own stuff.
Did they pay you? Like, was it like a salary kind of thing?
Yes, they did. I worked full time. I actually worked for them in an internship. If you're looking for a job, I can hook you up, man. But
yes, I am actually.
You are. Do you know Objective-C?
He's a designer.
Okay. Well, yeah, they might be able to fit you in somewhere. They're always hiring. But yeah, I worked for them in college as an internship, and it was a paid internship. I mean, not much. And then I just kind of transitioned into the full time for a year after that, after I graduated.
Really? So you're a good contact to know them.
Yes, I am. It's called Sidebolt Studios. Is the studio they make just little free-to-play iPhone games and stuff like that.
We'll have to talk more about that later. I kind of jump into this late. I don't know what all you've been told. Kevin and I started this up because I am a computer science / game design major down at Full Sail University in Florida. And,
oh yeah. Okay.
Full Sail. Yeah, I take classes online and I work from home here. And I'm actually I graduate very soon actually, and I've made a bunch of little I made stupid shit on the side, and I pretty much went full throttle, let's work on my portfolio, 5 or 6 months ago. And Kevin randomly one night just texted me. He's like, dude, I want to make a game. I want to make it in Unity. And I was like, well, slow down there. We can make a game, but why does it have to be Unity? And he's like, because Unity was what Rust was made in, and that really caught Kevin's eye, because the lighting effects in Rust, I will hand it to him, really creates, to me, immersion is everything, and aesthetics, and that, just the lighting effects alone, it captured my eye, too. So him and I kind of got together, and we were just like, we know some people, let's look for some people, instead of doing everything ourselves, let's put together a little studio, and it went from an idea. As a matter of like a week later, we had a company and we had like a full team put together, pretty much.
That's crazy.
How I met Tyler here. Weird.
Yes, hello.
Very weird how we met. That was kind of random. Aaron, I met him the same exact way as I met Tyler, except I met him like a year and a half ago, and he just kind of, I've always known him, and we've chatted here and there through Skype. So it's been very interesting to come together with all these different minds. I mean, I've done it at school before, and I've worked on games, designing the, I guess you could say, psychological aspect of it, of like what makes a game fun and interesting, and gives certain things value. But to work with two programmers, an artist, and an animator, a sound engineer, and then like a marketer, all that's, I would say I'm very lucky to have that, because I can rely on Kenny and Aaron. If something doesn't work in the game programming-wise, I can rely on them. I don't have to figure it out myself. I mean, I've done some programming, nothing compared to what they do. It's just what my school's taught me, and I'm actually finishing up. Well, not finishing. I'm starting my programming section of my degree, which is like the last part of it here at school. And so I wouldn't say I'm like them whatsoever, but it's been really beneficial, I guess you could say, to them, to work with them alongside them and hear how they work on things, because I mean, I've been told all through school, because I had a bunch of leadership classes and stuff like that, how you're going to run into all kinds of problems. The designers don't ever get along with the artists or the programmers, which I thought, no, that's very true. We've had issues where we had to overcome them, and I'm glad we did overcome them, but it's definitely an experience to be able to work with them hand on hand, or first hand, but
yeah, Evan, did you have any issues with that, like, since you're the artist and the programmer? Like, did you ever have conflicts with yourself?
Yeah.
Damn it! Why did I do that?
Internal fights.
Internal struggle.
Yeah, it's kind of more like, I don't know, when you think, oh, wouldn't this be so cool, the artist in you is like, let's do this, or the designer, this would be so awesome, and then the programmer in you is like, no way, man, that's going to take way too much work,
Yeah.
So.
Well, man, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Andy, but
yeah. What?
I just lost my question.
Right. I was gonna say, I've had that kind of conflict even just with sounds. Like, oh, I want to make this sound. Like, that is a pain to route and do. And I think one of the most notable things I've worked on during my schooling period, started working in Oro 3D 9.1 3D sound, and I was working without like fancy plugins to like pan everything and set up all the speaker array to have like a 9.1 pan like you would have a 5.1 pan or whatever. And it definitely came down to like there were some like cool things like you think of doing, and then like in practice you're just like, no, I like gotta back off and come at it way simpler, and hopefully it gives you an effect that you're happy with.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things with game design. Like, you always start out with huge ambitions, and then, you got to cut it down to reality.
Funny thing about when Jake said, how did everyone meet? The first time I met Aaron, he came up to me. He's like, hi, I'm from Grindr.
That's not exactly how it went.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
And if you don't know what Grindr is, well,
go look it up and go search for your lover.
Don't taint yourself.
Just forget you ever heard it.
I do have a serious question though. How did you hear about us? Might have missed that. We might have already covered that question, but I just hopped in. I don't know.
Well, I guess you guys kind of more heard about me, but just connected on Facebook and stuff.
Hey, Evan, someone's asking about the whatever you were talking about, the Kickstarter where people can donate their social media accounts so that it'll
Yeah, let me see if I can look it up. It's called Thunder something.
Thundercats, ho!
Yeah, it might
Yeah,
be
that's it.
Thunderclap. That's what it
Really?
is.
Yeah.
Thunderclap.it is the website, and so it's like, I guess the idea is it's so many people tweeting at once that it's a thunderclap. So
Oh, you know what? I think I've heard of that. I thought.
Oh man.
Let's see.
What caught your eye
Me too.
on Fancy Box?
What
What?
was that?
You
What
cut out.
caught your eye about Fancy Box?
What caught my eye? Well, you're from Ohio. No one else is.
Yeah, this is
it's
true.
pretty-
Yeah.
Not even the entire team can be from Ohio.
Right.
Evan, as soon as sorry to cut you off, but as soon as I saw that you were from Ohio, I'm like, no way. I'm like, no freaking way. I'm like, I have to tweet this. I need. Like, I'm like, I was just blown away. I'm like, there's someone else besides us.
Yeah. No, and you guys should. I don't know if you're aware of the Game Dev Expo, Ohio Game Dev Expo.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was at that this past year, and you guys could definitely get a booth there. You should totally do it. I think it was like $30 or something, really cheap. It's probably going to go up this year because like it was a smashing success. But
Smashing.
Yeah, we should definitely do it.
Smashing good stuff.
Well, the Ohio community is growing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm shocked how much it's blowing up.
That's good. So
We're
happy
put us on the map.
I know that there's one studio in Columbus, like Blue Frog Gaming. I saw that. I was just like, one day I went on Google and I was just looking for a bunch of stuff. And then, yeah, I found you on Steam, the Greenlight. I was just, going on Green. I'm like, because I always pin games. If you guys want to know and find different games, Fancybox has a Pinterest that I just pin a bunch of indie games, and Evan, yours is on there. And, I mean, you would be helping so many indie games and everyone if you just pin the hell out of this. Here, I'll link it to you guys. But, yeah, it was crazy. Funny story, Evan knows my sister's girlfriend. No, hold on, wait, my girlfriend's sister. And then, and like I was chatting him one day, and I'm like, do you know so and so? I'm like, oh my god, I do. And yeah, it's just a small world. It's just crazy that like I just couldn't believe that there was another indie person in Ohio.
Someone else asked a question.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's right above what you said.
Mr. Chimp. Will there be any narrative in your game? If so, how will the game be narrated?
Yes, there is narrative. It's told through text messages. So that's partially because it's kind of an innovative thing that, you don't really usually get to interact with the story. So you can actually respond to the text messages. There's different options. It's branching. So that's kind of an innovative thing that people like. And the other reason is I didn't want to do voice acting, so.
None of us do. None of us really do.
I kind of do.
I kind of do too,
Yeah,
man.
that'd be awesome. I don't know what you're going to talk about.
It's overrated.
Does anybody have any other questions? I know it's 10:45. We're almost at an hour. Anybody on the stream? I know Jake. I know you just got here. If you have any other questions for him, Aaron, Kenny, Andy. Paul dropped out because his internet was updating.
In-game phone.
Yeah. Tyler, anyone? And Chimp said, with a real phone or in-game?
In-game, although that would be
That-
awesome to
that-
do an ARG, but
That would be sick. That would be.
That'd be
You get a
some,
call and you'd be like, "Who is this?"
programming.
Yeah.
yeah. Did you guys ever see that one game, I'm Scared, where it starts like deleting files on your computer and making files and stuff after you quit the game? It's insane.
What? No.
It's so creepy.
No.
Yeah, I probably just spoiled everything, but go check that game out, cause
Like, not really, right?
no, for reals. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You're lying to me, Evan.
No, it's after you quit the game.
What's
Yep.
it called?
It's called I'm Scared. I think it's like one word. I am.
Yeah, let's just go download a virus, guys.
It's super free. It's like a horror game.
Yeah. We just met Evan. Hey, go play this game and get a virus.
There was that one.
I'm scared of getting a virus.
Just
There was
don't-
that game made in I think the 80s or the 90s by that group of Russian game designers that after you played the game, it deleted itself from your computer. So there was a very limited copies left after people realized how to copy it and save it or whatever.
Yeah, there's some other cool games like that. Like Jason Rohrer made a game called Ring World where there's only one copy. It's on a USB stick. You can't talk about it to anyone, and you just pass the USB stick from person to person, and you change stuff in the world. And it was just like this crazy game design experiment. Jason Rohrer is awesome. He's crazy but awesome.
Chim said Silent Hill Shattered Dreams does it with a Wii remote. That's pretty awesome. That is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it simulates a phone with the Wii remote.
Really? That's crazy.
Like the Wii remote starts ringing.
Anyone who's played Metal Gear Solid would know that they simulate motion control with the controller.
Do you plan on staying indie, or do you ever plan on going to a big company?
I'm probably gonna stay indie. I might, partner up with some other people, but I like the freedom that you get working on your own stuff.
I've seen that all over the forums and like videos I've watched. I don't know if you watch an indie game, indie dev. I don't know. It was a movie. Indie
Indie game
the movie.
Yeah,
Indie game the movie.
Yeah. They were like, I would never ever go to a big company.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
That is
never.
a hassle.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it. I don't have any other questions. If anybody else here's a question, do you do specifically 2D?
Do I do 2D? It's a 3D game, but yeah, I do 2D and 3D art. I'm just not very good at it. But yeah, the next game I do, I think will probably be 2D. But we'll
You
see.
meant to say 3D.
Yeah, he meant it 3D. That's funny.
Okay. Yeah.
But you already answered that anyway, so that's
Answer that question.
That's funny. I don't know. Oh, that's great. So does anybody else have questions on Twitch? I don't have any other questions. Everything. Does any Jake, Aaron, Kenny, Andy, Paul?
I would like to exchange emails if we could.
Yeah, we'll
What's
talk
that?
about that after we're done. We're done here.
Sorry,
But Paul, do you have any questions?
Paul's not here.
Paul?
Paul dropped out.
I know he's not. I was joking. Okay. Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you tune in next Tuesday. We'll try to get another dev in here. Really want to emphasize on we want indie devs in here and showcase their game and stuff like that. This is our first ever segment or first episode, so hang in there. Make sure you hit the follow button. Would really appreciate it, and make sure you go check out Lemma. And like I said, if you have money, go support that Kickstarter. My name is Kevin D-Rez. Got Jake, Aaron, Kenny, Evan. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it, man. Andy, Paul, and Tyler. Besides that, is that it? Is that it? I'm done. Thanks for sharing. Thanks, Chimp. And thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. Thank you. You guys take it easy. And yeah, this will be in a podcast if you want to listen to it and watch it. And listen to it, because the podcast you can't watch. So I'm leaving. I need to go to bed. All right. Thank you for following, guys. Peace.